So everyone, I did a walk around video and sort of tour of my Lexus, so I thought I might as well do one of my other car. Unfortunately, I would have wanted to park in this big, lovely, spacious car park here, but today it's closed, so I thought I'd just park here. Yeah, there's no one here, so it's fine. Anyways, so this is my 1997 Toyota Paseo 1.5 SI, so the posh, in inverted commas, spec. So I have owned this car since November last year, 2021. Sorry, so that is just over 1 year. So I thought I'd do a sort of a 1 year overview / sort of ownership update. What's it been like, and all that. But I guess firstly, just a bit of history as to how I found this car, because those that know that this is really rather rare, at least in the UK. I found this car, I think, how most people probably find Paseos to buy, completely by accident. I found this on Facebook Marketplace, because that's really the only place that you can find these, and it was owned by, well, it was being sold rather by a young man in his 30s, but who had part-time caring duties for an older man, who the older man had owned this car for the past 19 years, from 2001 until until the end of 2020. But then he had to give up driving, because he was finding driving a bit too difficult, a bit too stressful, and that's where I found it. And so it has been very, very well looked after, as you would imagine, just by the fact that it's standard. There are no mods on this car whatsoever, not even the exhaust, but I'll get to that. So yes, it is completely standard wheels, standard springs, shocks, no engine mods, nothing. And that's how I've kept it, because I like it how it is, frankly, and I don't really feel the need to lower it or to do anything like that. So let's go for a closer look. So coming inside, we have all of the 90s interior fabric patterns. Where have patterns like this gone? I do miss them. But yes, very, very grey, but again lifted somewhat by the interior pattern. So just climb inside, which is not the easiest task. Oh dear. Let's get out of the cold. Right, so coming round, on the driver's door we have got dual electric windows, and with actually driver's auto, because this is the posh SI, so you do get a few things, which I'll talk about. I should probably straighten the steering wheel, shouldn't I? Hang on a minute. I'll just stop the car, I think, as well, so you can hear it, and straighten that up. That's better. There we go. Okay, so one of the other pieces of tech that I am surprised this car has is it has electrically adjustable door mirrors. I mean, not electric folding mirrors, but oh, come on. I mean, even having these are quite special for a car of this type. It has done a genuine one-off nice mileage. Sorry, I shouldn't make that joke, I know, but and yes, this is a genuine mileage. Not much service history with the car, but this, like in its previous life with the older gentleman, it only did about like 1,500 miles a year, if that. That did bring some problems, but again, I'll talk about that later. So yes, we have 4-spoke Toyota steering wheel out of a Corolla, I imagine. And then onto the main dash binnacle itself. Now, this dashboard design, it isn't shared with the Starlet, because basically it gets a bit confusing, but in right-hand drive markets, like this one, the Paseo has its own unique dash design. But the Starlet, right-hand drive Starlets have a different dash design to this, but left-hand drive Starlets share the Paseo's dash design, which is odd. Anyways, So yeah, you've got your hazards up here. They're normal hazards. You've got some storage space here for a tea shelf or whatever it is that you wish to put there, and a clock which is about 10 minutes too fast, even though I set it like literally a few days ago. Passenger airbag as well, that's good. And then into the main binnacle, you've got nice, simple, chunky dials, all very, very easy to operate. Although sadly, there is no aircon. That's where the blanking switch would be for AC, and it was an option, but unfortunately this car doesn't have it, which, especially last summer during the heat wave, yeah, that was not fun. Coming down here, we have an aftermarket Sony radio, but at least the brand is keeping in brand with this car, because one of the things you got on the SI model was you got a standard CD player and a slightly better stereo. It's a 4-speaker Sony unit, and I think the speakers on the back do say Sony on them, but I'll have to show you that in a bit. Then down here you've got this Toyota blanking sort of like piece that goes in just to make it look a bit more cohesive. This doesn't open or anything, that's just fixed. You have a little ashtray here, socket with a cigarette lighter in it, and that's just a standard USB power outlet for my dash cam. Then okay, a 5-speed gearbox, a manual. I think the manual was the only gearbox offered in the UK, and it is actually surprisingly nice, tactile, solid shifter. It is really good actually. This car does surprise me here in some ways, and that's one of them. Storage space though is not great, because this is the one cup holder in the front. It's here in between the seats. That means that your arm just sort of knocks it when you're driving. It does have door pockets, but they are tiny, so you can't really put anything in them, and there's no real storage in the centre of the car either. I mean, the glove box is a decent size. Excuse my stuff in there. But yeah, storage space is not great. So coming up above, this car does have a sunroof, standard I think, on the SI. It obviously doesn't slide back because, well, there isn't the space to do that, but it does open like that, and you can also take it out entirely, and there should be this cloth bag, I think, that you can put the sunroof in, but sadly I don't have that. I do have the sunroof blind, but it's in the boot. Coming on, so the seats themselves, this is another benefit. I'll just move my big camera in its bag off the seat. The seats are another pleasant surprise in this car, because they may not look very thick, well they're not, but they are actually really comfortable. The padding is soft all around, and they are a bit sculpted, so your like lower back has quite a bit of support, and I've actually done like hour and a half, even up to 2 hours stints driving in this car, and I don't feel fatigued, I don't feel like achy at all, so they are quite impressive. I mean, there's not a lot of thigh support, that's my one major gripe with them, and actually, well, other gripe is that the headrest is fixed. There's no like adjustable headrest either. Maybe I should get into the back. I mean, I have a tripod in there at the moment, but I probably don't need to do that or to bother with that. There is an okay amount of leg room in the back. I have carried full-sized adults in the back, believe it or not, and leg room they've been fine in, but the problem, as I'm sure you've guessed, is headroom. They literally have to lie sideways. Why Toyota even bothered putting back seats in this car, I really don't know. What else? I think that's about it. So on to the rest of it. Overall leg space isn't too bad. There is a little a footrest there for your clutch foot, which is nice, but as you can see my legs are bent sort of, there's not that much space between my knees and the steering wheel, and sadly the steering wheel does not adjust like height or reach. There isn't any adjustment, which is a bit of a shame. I would have liked it to have been slightly higher up, but aside from that, the driving position is reasonably good. But if you are more than about 6 foot, because I'm about 5'10"ish, I think if you're more than 6 foot, you might struggle a bit for headroom and sort of leg space in the car, so do bear that in mind. And just one final thing for the interior is, as with a lot of the Japanese cars from this era, you have a remote boot release and your fuel release down here. So while we're back here at the boot, just before I do open the boot, this is one of my gripes with this car. There is no handle to pull. Like, you either have to pull the interior boot release, or you flip this up and then you stick the key in like that, you turn it, and then that's how you get the boot open. So this is the boot, and yeah, this is my one big practicality gripe with this car, is that the I mean, the opening looks wide, but the rear lights do eat into your boot opening quite a bit. So for larger items, you do have to like lift them over and put them in. As I said, here's the sunroof blind. But actually, boot space is okay. Like, there is enough space here for 2 people's weekend away or like few days away luggage, and I know that because I've done it. You can quite easily fit 2 people's worth of soft bags and all that stuff. So yeah, I say boot space isn't too bad. And actually, if I just move this away, the rear seats do actually fold forward, but why, I don't know, because again, the boot opening is so small that you couldn't really, like timber maybe, but who's going to be going to IKEA in their Paseo? But this car even has, which is a nice touch, a very faded dealer sticker. This is the original dealer sticker in the back, Yeomans of Worthing, and actually even the number plate itself, both front and back, these are actually Yeoman's Toyota, so even has its original plate as well, which is nice. The exhaust is one of the things I did have to replace, because about a few months after I bought the car, because it had been sitting for because it just hadn't been driven much, and you know, a 25-year-old Japanese car living by the coast most of its life, rust is gonna take hold somewhere, and it did in the exhaust. The back box rusted away, and so I had to get that replaced. And finding it, I didn't go stainless steel. I went for like an OEM style normal one, and my local garage had a bit of a hard time finding one. I think they had to import the part from Germany or somewhere. Anyway, welcome to Corrosion, the engine. So anyway, joking aside, God, I picked a really bad day to film this. Anyway, so this is the 5e FE. It's a 1.5 double overhead cam 16-valve engine. It does have fuel injection, but I think it also has a distributor on it, rather than sort of coil packs or anything like that, or coilless ignition or whatever that is. Yeah, this is one of the key areas where this car's location really does start to show. Like, it is quite rusty under here in some areas. I mean, the engine runs absolutely fine, but yes, especially the surface top of the engine is that's warm. So there we are, that was the Toyota Paseo 1.5 SI, a really rather fun little car that maybe, like, if you are in the market for a small coupe, something that you really don't see every day, then yeah, maybe consider one of these. I mean, that is if you can find one. But yeah, this would be a car that I would definitely like to keep for quite a long time, or at least until I absolutely have to get a practical load lugger. But until then, yeah,